The college football regular season is now over, which means two things: bowl games and the college football playoffs. This will be the final year of the very popular 4-team playoff structure, as beginning next year, the playoffs will expand to 12 teams. But for now, let's take a look at the 4 teams that are competing for a national championship. But before we start the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss out on one of my videos. This has been quite the season for the Michigan Wolverines. The Wolverines went 13-0 and won the Big Ten title again, solidifying their position as the #1 ranked team in the playoffs. But despite the success on the field, a lot of events off of it have been the main focus on the Wolverines this year. Jim Harbaugh was suspended the first 3 games of the season by Michigan due to possible recruiting violations and misleading NCAA investigators that happened during the 2020 COVID season. Michigan would win those first 3 games pretty easily, and we all thought that would be the end of it. But we would all be proven wrong. On October 18th, the NCAA notified the Big Ten and Michigan that it had received allegations that Michigan was involved in a sign-stealing scheme, in which Michigan would send representatives to games to scout future opponents, which is a big no-no since sign-stealing has been prohibited by the NCAA since 1994. The man at the center of the sign-stealing scandal was a man named Connor Stalions. Connor Stalions was a retired U.S. Marine Corps captain and was working as a Michigan off-the-field analyst, so a low-level staffer. And the more information we received, the more crazier it got. Connor Stalions bought tickets for more than 30 games at 11 Big Ten schools over the past 3 seasons. This also includes sources said that the person in the seat of the ticket purchased by Stalions held his smartphone up and appeared to film the home team's sideline the entire game of an opposing Big Ten team. This whole thing was such a bizarre, crazy mess, but my favorite part of this whole scandal was the memes we got out of it. In that folder, Connor Stalions allegedly on the Central Michigan sideline. Very soon after, on November 3rd, Connor Stalions resigned. So, needless to say, many Big Ten teams were very angry and wanted immediate action taken against Jim Harbaugh and Michigan was pushing back on them. A day before a scheduled hearing to appeal the suspension, Michigan and Jim Harbaugh reached an agreement with the Big Ten. The conference would drop its investigation while Harbaugh accepted his 3-game suspension, which meant he would miss the final 3 games of the season. But besides the whole Michigan sign-stealing scandal, Michigan seems poised to win a national championship and are the betting favorites right now, thanks to their top-ranked defense and their playmakers on offense like quarterback J.J. McCarthy, running back Blake Corum, and wide receiver Roman Wilson. It's their title to lose, so let's see if Michigan can win it all this year. The Washington Huskies turnaround has been pretty fun to watch. In 2019, after Chris Patterson retired, the new head coach was Jimmy Lake. Jimmy Lake was the defensive coordinator for the Huskies from 2018 to 2019 and was also the top recruiter in the country, and the expectation was that the transition from Peterson to Lake would be an easy one. But unfortunately for the Huskies, it was not. Jimmy Lake had 2 forgettable seasons and was fired after he struck one of his players during the Oregon game. In 2022, Washington would end up getting 2 important pieces that contributed to their 2023 season: former Fresno State head coach Kellen DeBoer and Indiana transfer quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix's story is pretty remarkable. Coming out of high school, Penix was a 3-star recruit and was committed to play quarterback at Tennessee, but his offer was pulled by McDonald's bag extraordinaire Jeremy Pruitt. Michael Penix would go on and commit to Indiana, where his time as a Hoosier was marked by injury, besides leading Indiana to an amazing start in 2020. But in 2022, Penix would transfer to Washington and reunite with his former OC, Kellen DeBoer. After transferring to Washington, it helped revitalize Penix's collegiate career. Penix threw for 8,859 yards, 64 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions, and recording a record of 24 wins and 2 losses, and was the runner-up in the Heisman voting to Jaden Daniels. The Huskies have the #1 passing offense thanks to Michael Penix and his receivers Romeo Odunze, Jalen Polk, and Jalen McMillan. Washington has a pretty good chance to advance to the national title game, but their opponent might have something to say about that. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Texas might actually be back. The last time the Longhorns competed for a national title was back in 2009, where they lost to Alabama. Ever since the 2009 BCS title game, the Longhorns haven't been able to make it back to a natty, and have just been playing in a bunch of Texas and Alamo Bowls. After Mack Brown resigned in 2013, The next two coaches weren't able to take Texas back to a national title contention, but in 2021, Texas found their new coach, Steve Sarkisian. Before he was hired at Texas, Steve Sarkisian served as offensive coordinator for Alabama as he helped them win a national championship in 2020, which helped make him a head coaching candidate. Considering his last two times he was a head coach, people were skeptical, and in his first year, the Longhorns went 5-7. The next season, the Longhorns improved with an 8-5 record but lost in the Alamo Bowl. But everything came together in 2023. In 2023, the Longhorns went 12-1 thanks to former 5-star quarterback Quentin Ears and their 1,000-yard rusher Jonathan Brooks. Overall, Texas has looked like a good team, with their best win of the season being beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa and their lone loss against Oklahoma in the Red River Showdown. Texas has the third best odds to win a national championship, but there is another team with better odds and are people's pick to win a national title. Okay, before we talk about Alabama, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant being Florida State. Now, Florida State was not selected despite going 13-0 and winning the ACC conference title, which rightfully so pissed off a lot of FSU fans, players, coaches, and the athletic department, which prompted Florida State University athletic director Michael Alford to go scorched earth on the playoff committee, and for good reason. The committee pretty much gave a big old F you to FSU and the ACC. There's so much more on Florida State, but that could be its own video, so we're going to focus right now on Alabama. It was pretty foolish of me to think that Alabama wouldn't make the playoffs. After that loss to Texas in a way too close game against South Florida, I really thought that they would even make the playoffs, but joke's on me, I guess. The concern at quarterback is pretty much over since Jalen Milroe has proven to be the best true starter for the Crimson Tide after watching Ty Simpson and Tyler Buckner play quarterback against USF. Jalen Milroe is the best option for Alabama, has been the reason they've been able to knock off 12 wins this year. Despite it all, Alabama was able to beat Georgia and lock up the final playoff spot, and it looks like Alabama could possibly win the national title. Okay, now that we have gone over the teams, let's take a look at the matchups. Number 1 ranked Michigan will play number 4 ranked Alabama in the Rose Bowl, and number 2 Washington will play number 3 ranked Texas in the Sugar Bowl. My prediction is that Alabama will beat Michigan 33-24, and Washington will beat Texas 40-37. These predictions will probably be very wrong, but we will see. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and comment down below your predictions of the games. Anyway, I am OneDubs, thanks for stopping by.